Hello, friends, and welcome to Much Review About Nothing. And Christmas has been stolen early this year. On this podcast, we review a movie we haven't seen through cultural osmosis and what we can find on the internet. I'm your host, Billy Greer.
And we're your co-hosts, Jake Greer and
Luke Greer.
And this time, let's watch a movie.
Yeah, that's right. Because this is a special segment called Much Review About Something.
Yeah. We are taking a look at the first movie we ever reviewed, but this time we actually watched it, and it's The Grinch 2018 from Illumination. No.
Illumination!
oh, thank you.
Okay.
We had our own Minion cameo.
Yeah.
That's probably the worst joke
like
ever.
a special needs person.
Well, I mean,
I don't want to make the joke.
Yeah,
That's what Minions are.
let's move on.
Yeah. Moving on. Oh, yeah. So we kind of thought it'd be fun to like look back and compare our thoughts and impressions that were uninformed to an actual review and see how they stack up. Among other things. And two, we have a weird fascination with this movie, and I'm not really sure why.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was our first, and you always remember.
You never forget your first.
You never forget your first.
And it's a weird combination of, we have Illumination, we have the Grinch / Dr. Seuss, plus we have Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
You know.
Who I really like as an actor.
And plus we have DNA testing kits.
No, I mean.
You have to watch the original for.
Well, we
learn
talked about that.
that.
It is not in the movie.
No.
They lied
sadly,
to us.
Yeah.
In fact, we don't. I mean, do we want to talk about the plot?
Well, it's the Grinch Steals Christmas,
Yeah.
right? Was that what you?
No, I mean, they don't even talk about his heritage or his parents at all.
Oh yeah, not really.
It's like, as I think I brought it up. Well, I do know I brought it up because I have the notes.
Yeah.
I went back and I listened to our old episode just to see, one, how it stacked up, and two, what all we really covered. And I mentioned that he was an orphan, and he was.
Yeah.
But also, he was an orphan who was just in an orphanage with no director or other kids.
No, he just lived in a big house by himself.
I think he was squatting.
Yeah.
Where are the laws of squatting in
the vaguest
Whoville?
backstory possible for the.
But seemingly,
for the Grinch.
he runs away from home.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, because I may have been looking down to make notes, but I wasn't clear on the mechanics of the orphanage. It was just him in there, basically.
Yeah, it was less of an orphanage and more of just like Luke said, he was just squatting. So I don't know.
Yeah, that was another thing. We can just go ahead and get into it. We're already reviewing the film, but shoot, I just lost my train of thought as soon as I said it. But
so let's talk about the movie.
Yeah. Okay, I remembered it. So
I think it was about Christmas.
The weirdest thing about the film is everyone's really nice to the Grinch, or tries to be.
Right.
So my question was why did no one adopt him while he's in the orphanage? It's just did nobody know he was there?
Like I said,
You know?
it was just him. No one knew.
But
it's so vague.
Yeah, you're right. Seemingly, there was no rejection event. He was in an empty orphanage.
Yeah.
He looked out and saw people celebrating Christmas.
And was upset. But
And then,
if he'd literally just gone outside and talked to someone, these people are so nice, they probably would have just adopted him on the spot. That's what I can't understand. It's hard. He can't really have a dark backstory in this narrative.
Yeah.
Because everybody loves him, and he goes into the town on a daily basis, it seems. Or,
because
every so
a
often.
lot. Yeah, he goes down there a lot.
Because, they didn't have a necessary element to his backstory, which was a cruel orphanage director.
Yeah, just some event that sent him up to the mountain, or they could just even have it he believes nobody would ever like him, and he leaves. You don't have to be complicated, but
right, he's green for some reason.
Yeah, we were talking about, did some sort of war happen, some sort of racial cleansing, and he's the last whatever he is,
Because
The last green who?
because somebody has asked this, is Grinch a name, a title, or a race, and no one knows.
Well, he's everything.
Seemingly-
Billy.
Yeah.
because he just appeared out of nowhere one day, took residence in an empty orphanage, got sad and left.
Yeah.
He didn't have a name before, so
Maybe he just took the name of
maybe when he was in the mountain, he's incredibly well educated, so he must be well read. So I guess he went through the dictionary one day and was like, "Oh, this word describes what I'm feeling.
What I am, or how I'm feeling."
So I am the Grinch.
Yeah, it's like being a Grinch is like being Jewish. It's like everything. It's a race. It's a people.
And I think what we're talking about, it may seem random, but I think it's fundamentally what the problem is with this remake, is that you are remaking the Grinch. The story has been covered and done. Are you not going to add literally anything new to it? Like, at least if you're going to do something, expound upon his backstory. Make something interesting about the Grinch on what, give him an origin story.
At least the Jim Carrey one did that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. That one has its own problems, but at least there's like a reason why he left. He had a traumatic event as a child where he was rejected. Okay.
That's really easy to do. Like, there's a million ways.
Yeah.
And then, seemingly, like you said, as a grown-up, he's okay with going back into town. Like, it's not traumatic at all for him. Mm-hmm. He hates the people there, even though they are nice to him, which, fair enough. That's how some people are. Yeah. But it's just like there's no reason for him to be this way. Yeah.
There's no reason really for him to hate Christmas, and they don't really make a fine point of like saying, because in the original, the very, very original one, he hates the noise. He finds it irritating. Right. And he also finds the Who's hypocritical, or he thinks they're hypocritical. He believes that they only care about the commercialism.
He's kind of like a kid's version of the Joker.
I guess so. We're going to talk about that because the way he talks in this movie
makes us get into it now.
Yeah, it makes us think of Heath Ledger's Joker.
Benedict Cumberbatch has decided to appear and not appear in this movie, where his British voice, which is the voice everybody wants except for in Doctor Strange, is not there. He's doing some weird impression.
He has a deep voice, but they have him we talked about this in the original review where he pitches it up and he's talking like this.
Yeah.
I'm the Grinch who stole Christmas.
Yeah, he talks.
It's not the reason you get him at all.
No, it blows my mind. I don't know if it was like he wanted to try something new, but he ends up sounding like Heath Ledger's the Joker sometimes.
I actually forgot that was Benedict when we were watching the movie.
Yeah.
I was like,
I guess,
wait, that's right.
In a way, he blended into the role, but like not in an interesting way. Just kind of like.
Yeah, not in the way
what is he doing?
He sounds like Harrison Ford in Blade Runner in that one scene where he's hunting down that one replicant. It's like, excuse me, miss.
This town deserves a better class of Grinch.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to him. Everything burns.
My father didn't like Christmas.
I mean, even that would have worked.
He put the candy cane in my mouth.
Yeah, why don't we get the Grinch's parents?
Maybe his parents had a really big impact on him, like growing up to hate Christmas.
Yeah.
And like maybe we can go down and like see the Grinch. He hates his parents and he hates himself, and by extension, he views Christmas as the thing he hates instead of his parents, and so. Right. We go down into the like real psychological and dramatic elements of the Grinch and his psyche. That would be a great way.
And that's fine.
Better yet, this. How about the Grinch's parents also hate Christmas, and they come from a long line of just hating Christmas and not really knowing why. And so this is about the Grinch breaking the cycles of hate and revenge.
Sure, but
you find out the Grinch he killed his parents.
I've said. He doesn't even really need a reason. He can just find it irritating and want to get rid of it. And that's fine. But it just doesn't seem to gel with this particular Grinch. He just seems like a grump.
Well, in this Grinch, he's actually just lonely.
Yeah.
He finds out. He's not the Grinch.
And I can't remember
the mopey.
What inciting incident makes him... Is it when he sees like they're getting a giant tree?
Right, the Christmas this year is going to be
bigger than ever.
Right.
Okay, and that's what prompts.
And then the noise is going to be bigger than ever.
Okay, so they did keep the kind of the original.
Yeah, they tied it back to the noise.
Yeah, but I guess my disconnect is in the original, you feel just how inherently nasty this guy is, whereas this Grinch just feels like a grumpy neighbor who. He kind of puts up with everybody, and he's fine with going down into town and stuff, and he's fine with kind of socializing, but he doesn't have any like actual like, what's the like maliciousness or
right
or he's just a sad. This Grinch is just a sad
he's
guy,
just sad.
lonely guy. Yeah, which is fine. But I like Grinch when he's got a bit of like glee to him about how how much he hates Christmas.
Yeah. I think we should kind of pivot and talk about Cindy Lou and her role in the story. I think one of the most interesting parts is that Cindy Lou, it's never ever mentioned or shown, but like her mother is a single mother. It's like, what happened to Mr. Lou?
Yeah.
Where is he?
Well, her last name is just Who, even though that's her race.
Cindy
too.
Lou Who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is her last name is not Lou Who, is it? Or is it? I thought it was Cindy Lou and then Who.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if that's her last name or if it's like, well, she is a Who, so we're defining her as that for the sake of.
I don't know. Where is this information coming from? Was it in the movie?
Well, in the
Cindy Lou Who.
Yeah, in the books, that's her name, but she is one. So like everyone is like named after their race.
That is an unfortunate implication if they all have the same last name and they're living in a remote mountain village.
Yeah, but in this version, Cindy Lou, whose mom is a single mom. Although I don't know do you see both her parents in the original?
I don't think they're ever really.
No, it's just her.
Yeah,
which is fair enough. But
and another thing is seeing Cindy Lou's mom wear hospital scrubs as a Who.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was a very unnerving.
They're like realistic scrubs.
It was
like this whimsical fantasy town, but then all of a sudden, just something like plucked from our world, just stuck right in the middle.
It was very jarring.
Yeah. But what are you gonna say, Jake?
Well, because I'm trying to relate it back to the movie and what we talked about, and we thought there was going to be this weird romantic subplot between the Grinch and Cindy Lou's mother, which I would have really enjoyed. I would have liked to delve deeper into that.
A neat twist on the formula.
See, that's my ship for this movie.
Because it's all about how like she's alone and Cindy Lou Who wants her to be happy.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, maybe she needs to date. Maybe she
Yeah, maybe the Grinch, as we found.
And the Grinch
out,
was lonely, so I was like, they're
lonely.
two lonely people. Maybe
and
get them
he's
together.
very handy.
Yeah,
very handy.
He's a man who works with his hands.
I know his cave lair is amazing.
He is
all
a
these
technological
Rube Goldberg
wizard.
Machines. Yeah.
Well, it was made by Illumination, so you're gonna get weird Rube Goldberg
machine.
Ruby Goldberg, his sister.
Yeah. Rube Goldberg machines.
Or his daughter. She took over the business
of
crazy contraptions. Yeah, but
it didn't come to fruition. In the end, he just kind of decks out her house. He just in the end, he becomes like a contractor.
Yeah, I guess so.
Which really, honestly, it's his perfect profession.
The joys of self-employment.
Yeah, they're a little bit evil, manipulative. Like, I'll be in, they'll be in next week, definitely on Saturday.
Never show up.
No, come on, Jake. We don't.
What?
We don't need to go that far.
Besmirch the name of contractors.
Look, everybody knows what I'm saying, right? What I'm preaching here.
Yeah.
I mean, you can cut this part out, but Jake, I'm a contractor.
You're not that kind of contractor.
No, not that kind of contractor.
House contractors.
Yeah, we're talking about
I
people
see.
who make improvements on homes, not people who contract other work per se.
Yeah.
I'm an IT contractor, by the way.
Okay, great. You just dropped your profession, and now they'll find you, Luke.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing that I've written down is that the Whovillians are devout Christians.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Within their songs, and within their lore, who Jesus must have existed at one time. And I now remember the theory we had working for us, is that the Grinch people were the ones who crucified Jesus.
Yes.
Or
right.
Jesus
yeah,
who.
That was my theory.
Because it would make a lot of sense in the end.
Yeah.
Because there has to be a Jesus for them to sing about the Savior who was born on Christmas Day. It doesn't make any sense otherwise.
And to celebrate Christmas.
This universe. Yeah, even Christmas in general.
Because it's not like they're celebrating the holidays or anything. They're celebrating specifically Christmas. And they're not taking Christ out of Christmas. I'm sorry.
No,
not doing Xmas.
I said they name dropped him several times in the movie.
Yeah. This has all been like interesting lore stuff, but ultimately, like, what were our opinions of the film and of itself? Because I thought it was just a lot of padding.
Yes, very much so.
Because like, when you adapt something like this, you always wonder like, okay, so what are they going to add to it what spin are they going to put on it.
What's your angle?
Yeah. Because I think the Jim Carrey one, I guess it was kind of similar where he comes down before the event and interacts, but I can't remember exactly what. Like they make him like the king of their Christmas festival or something. I remember
Cindy Lou tried to reintegrate him into society, and it went very poorly.
Yeah,
and that's what kind of like. And that was kind of what caused the Jim Carrey Grinch to want to destroy Christmas.
It was kind of a Hunchback of Notre Dame kind of situation.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
The other angle was the fact that it was live action.
Right.
Like,
as
much as we...
That in of itself is a different take.
Right.
You know what? If I remember correctly, the Jim Carrey Grinch does go into town, but he goes in disguise.
Right, yeah.
He wears a cloak and wears a Who mask.
Yeah, because he doesn't think he'll, fit in, and he had a bad experience. But yeah, but this take just seems to be like we're just doing the Grinch again, but making each step of it like more complicated than it had to be.
It's the slice of life Grinch. We see the Grinch.
I guess it's
when he goes shopping.
It's obsessed with like the process.
When he does this and when he plans that, it's kind of like they I guess miss the point of the Grinch.
Yeah, because like the Cindy Lou Who subplot. We spend all this time with her and her little friends, like planning how to capture Santa so that she can just have that scene that she's supposed to have with the Grinch. But it's like completely unnecessary.
Right, because she can literally say, I think I'm going to capture Santa for my mom. And then you cut. Yeah. You could literally just cut to that and you would have set it up.
And it wouldn't change anything.
Because... it's within the realm of possibility right here that she could set up just a simple trap.
Yeah, it's not like we need to see this set up, and it's not like it.
But they needed to pad it up to I don't remember how long this movie is.
It was barely like theater runtime.
So it's
like 86 minutes or something like that. I forget. Theatrical runtime.
Very much so the filler of the Grinch world.
Yeah, it's just like Grinch with filler, is all it is.
The Grinch filler arc, got to skip it. Yeah.
Because like, there's a whole thing where he tries to get reindeer for his sleigh,
right,
and befriends a big, enormous fat reindeer.
And I was gonna laugh because he just like the fat reindeer just dips halfway
through
the
and it
movie.
just leaves anyways. And I mean, it comes back at the end to teach him a lesson about family, I guess. But like, that character does not need to exist. You can just have him not fall off the cliff at the end, or find a way to, stop it, like he does, because doesn't he get like super strength in the original?
Yes, he does.
Yeah. He's powered by his newfound love and kinship.
So he gains a strength of 10 Who's plus 2.
Right.
That's what's interesting about, like, I guess the Grinch or this one. In all versions of the Grinch, all the stuff is restored to the Who's, right?
Yeah.
I always wondered, like, yeah, they were happy, and yeah, they were okay with not having their stuff. Fine. Yeah. But when the Grinch comes back, what if he didn't have anything? What if he did lose all the presents? Would they have accepted him so readily? And that was the interesting thought I had when I was watching this movie. Is like, he did steal it all, and he was a massive jerk.
Mm-hmm. But he ultimately made it right. So it's
right, he made it right. He restored it.
Yeah.
What if he just came out and like, I did steal your stuff.
Like, I tried, but it fell off the cliff.
Yeah, I really regret it.
Yeah. Because that could be like a good like climax, or final phase wrinkle where he's like, shoot, I've lost everything. Is there any possibility I can have redemption? Yeah. And they still, accept him even though they are disappointed.
I would leave it ambiguous. Like I would have them all just walking towards him. And this is
like the postmodern Grinch.
Yeah.
There's no ending. He's just like walking towards the village.
Well, he's there and all the Who's are, approaching him.
Yeah, they're converging
and then
on
it
him.
ends. After all the credits roll, you see it, and it's just the Grinch, and he's been crucified.
It always goes back to crucifixion.
It's Christmas.
But yeah, it's just... It did not need to be made because it added nothing to it whatsoever. Not even in like a novelty sense. It just stretched every aspect for material, and it's just like, okay, well, like, what's the point? And go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say you could recut this movie and you'd probably have about the same length as the original.
Yeah, that's the thing. It just has these blocks of pointless stuff just jammed in there. and you remove all of them, and you just end up with the 1967 or whatever.
1966, I think.
Okay, yeah.
That was the secret all along. We looked through all the scrolls and manuscripts, like they're one and the same.
It's the same movie.
It's like it's just like the original, and it's like always has been.
Always has been. Yeah. I mean, I'm not one of these people that like hates Illumination inherently.
No.
Like, there's a lot of people that are just like, ooh, Illumination, it's terrible. It's just the Minion thing has gotten a little exhausting, but a lot of people who love them. So I mean, I can't blame them for continuing to capitalize on it. But like. We watched Sing 2 not too long ago. I mean, it's a kid's movie, but I found it perfectly entertaining, and I didn't find it, like, awful.
Right, there are kids' movies that are good or good enough for you to enjoy. You know, we're not fully cynical with kids' movies.
But like, there's no point of this because the first one already did it perfectly and it's streamlined.
Yeah.
And this doesn't add anything. It just makes it's a whole lot for a little bit, and that's basically my review. It's pointless, but I guess it's got enough fun visuals that kids will like it.
And I want to say something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
They did "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch" at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And they had another song for when he's actually getting ready. It's just.
Yeah, it's like I mean I guess they didn't want to do the exact same thing, but it's like
they didn't have to.
And two, I mean, Tyler the Creator, he's fine, but like you can't beat Thurl Ravenscroft. First of all, he has the best name ever, and that voice is just perfect for like an evil song, an evil Grinch theme. Yeah.
I was looking over my notes, and one of them is Luke is barely watching the movie.
Well, I've already seen it.
Yeah.
No, I know.
That's the point.
A lot of the animals have nice hair. Like all of them have like extra hair on top
like
of their
coiffed.
Yeah. And the other one is it's about family, that's what's important.
It's about family. That's what's important.
So do we have any other review beyond that it's just empty and vapid?
I also hate
I don't have much.
in these newer ones how the Who's are always shown to be incredibly materialistic and consumerist.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up because I brought it up in the previous one because like we have these Dr. Seuss movies, and like you said, they're just full of consumerism. Just like even the Lorax, when you look at it, was actually just full of it.
Yeah.
This one is strangely full of it, and again, that materialistic side, I guess it's relevant, but also like because the conclusion is the way it is, it's okay for them to have bigger and better. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing inherently wrong with
not in this one because it does play into the storyline, but it is weird that these people who are so materially minded are just like, okay, whatever, we lost freaking
we lost everything.
I lost like $20,000 in Christmas gifts, but whatever, doesn't matter.
And lights
because in the original it's a little more simple gifts. I mean, unless you don't count that giant tuba that like 6 people can sit in, but yeah, it's just weird. These people they seem so materially minded. It's just. But maybe that's part of the lesson. The Who thought they were hypocritical, but he didn't see their hearts, And like I don't have anything against consumerism or materialism.
No, I don't either.
It just sometimes it clashes with it really clashes with the Lorax.
Yeah.
But the Lorax is about like saving the environment, and they have him shilling Denny's pancakes in like cars. It's like, guys, what are we doing here?
Didn't they make that a joke in the Lorax movie itself, where he like took a picture of the Lorax and said that the pajamas were like Lorax approved?
I probably did. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. That was in the movie, and then they shilled them out. Sorry, our little Lorax tangent.
Yeah.
This is like layers of cynicism I'm not prepared to deal with.
Either that or it's like, we're exploiting the Lorax name as a bit. It's a joke.
It was all a meta joke.
Yeah.
They defend themselves with irony, the geniuses.
But yeah, this is not an anti-consumerist podcast. I mean, it can go too far, obviously.
Well, it also depends on the message of your...
But, hey, life's short. Spend your money, have a good time. That's what I say.
Well, again, that could be like it could be an actual conflict in the movie is that they've lost sight of what Christmas is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Get it on them a little bit. Maybe have some more Who characters who.
Didn't they do that in the Jim Carrey movie too?
It's possible. It's been so long since I've seen that.
Yeah,
I think
because
we were just describing we just want the Jim Carrey movie.
Yeah.
Which, like, I'm not gonna tell you that's an amazing movie.
No, but it's better.
But at least it has enough differences to kind of justify its existence.
So yeah, I was gonna kind of go over what we covered in the podcast all those years ago. When we were young and bright-eyed. So yeah, I have the weird consumerism bit. The Grinch is really weirdly social. We talked about the old book and cartoon, and we just asked, why was this made? We were pretty much on point the whole time. And the most important part is, do we still agree the Grinch is totally kind of hot? He's a sexy anti-capitalist bad boy who wears pink pants.
I mean,
he loses his edge at the end, so...
But there are some nice shots of the Grinch. If you enjoy that thing, and I still think he's pretty.
He's got.
They did show that off. They did extol that as one of his like virtues, I guess.
Well, I think that's why part of the reason why we wanted him to get together with Mrs. Who, because he's got like that dad quality, that like dad bod quality too.
Perfect dad bod.
Yeah.
Perfect like
hair shape,
kind of
awkwardness, handy
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, no, I would say we were spot on. The only thing is he has a really off-putting pink lip. His lower lip is weirdly pink. It just looks weird on his face.
Do we agree on whether Cindy Lou being all dressed up was a Minions cameo?
All just
like wrapped up in her winter gear because she wants to go find Santa. And do we agree that was kind of a Minions reference?
Like in what way? Just the way she was moving, or
just the way she looked and moved.
I don't know. It's possible. I wouldn't put it past them, but I don't know because the coat wasn't yellow. I feel like maybe if they wanted to, they would do that, but I'm not sure.
We also have our scores, but it made a lot of money and a lot of 10s in IMDb. These were like pros to the movie. It's an art piece. It's a conflicting movie. We absolutely loved it.
Yeah, we loved it.
And then we were like, it was good, we think. And then we decided at the very end that it was a dumpster fire, both the podcast and the movie.
This review made no sense.
What do you mean?
Well, just reading that, see that we were all over the place, which is, I guess, normally how it goes.
We were subverting expectations.
I kind of feel like we're Grinch stans, so it kind of, helps us rise above any potential deficiencies.
I send death threats to anyone who talks bad about the Grinch.
Yeah, I mean,
I
make
dox
fan
them.
cams.
Yeah. And the other notable thing is that I thought I had lost it. I have no idea where I originally kept this review. Mm-hmm. In fact, I may not. That's the thing. I've changed my process. Because we only had one, I don't think I ever screenshotted this review, which is how I do it. I think I just read it raw from the website. And I was like, man, I've lost it. So I was going through and was transcribing it for our podcast episode. And then once I had enough, I actually just put it in the search and I found it. I found our first rando review on the podcast. So I didn't know if we wanted to talk about it now.
Yeah, let's go ahead. I guess we can start looking, because you had other reviews you wanted to do, right? So
yes, so we can broach that. And it was actually by someone called Dead Channel Lol. This was 3 years ago. And it was a very funny review. He begins. Honestly, I didn't like it. It was incredibly overrated, and I came to the theater ready to be blown away in laughter, but still shed a tear at this lovely remake of the touching classic. However, I was sadly displeased. It had passable jokes, and I'll be honest, the most I did is chuckle at one of them. The movie was also incredibly predicting, and I was able to predict honestly.
Well, I mean, you've already seen The Grinch, so yeah.
Nearly all of it. It also wasn't as funny or emotional as I was hoping. And the original, I loved laughing at jokes, sawing at Mary Sue's adorableness, and shredding a small...
Mary Sue?
Yeah, Mary Sue. And remember, shredding a small tear at the Grinch's triumph.
Oh, yeah, shredding a tear. We jumped on that.
Yeah.
Little grammar Nazis. Just anytime someone makes a mistake, we're like...
Also, the movie was very rushed, and 1 second it started, the next it was over. The timing wasn't right. It spent a lot of time on the Grinch's life, a good amount on his prep for his evil doings, and too little on the conclusion. It made me think, why was this remade? You made a good story worse. However, there were some pros. The voice acting was perfect, and most of the voices fit the character perfectly.
No, not
And I
the
realized
Grinch.
I cut all this. It was like just vapid and
Yeah.
and empty. But yeah, big shout out to Dead Channel Lol, who was our first rando review.
Yeah, and that's a very accurate review.
Yeah, very
overall.
accurate.
That's basically what we said. It's like, why does this exist other than money?
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, all the justification you need. But
Can we get a Dr. Seuss movie where those two duck creatures hate each other because some have stars on their bellies and some don't?
I mean, I've been waiting for them to just start adapting the other stuff.
So this one, like I said, is more of a comment. I found that people cannot spell narrator at all. We have get past the horrible narrator. Going on to IMDb, we have Minecraft Princess. 2 out of 10 stars. It was okay.
No.
I would not recommend this movie, especially if you want your child to continue believing in Santa. It was okay up until the part where the Grinch tells the little girl that Santa doesn't exist because no one has ever seen him. What? My 10-year-old daughter turns to me and looks me straight in the eyes and asks, "That's not true, is it? He's real, right?" I then grabbed the popcorn and drinks and left the theater with her. I simply said, "Of course he's real. Why wouldn't he be?" And she replies, "You heard what he said. No one has ever seen him." And no matter how much I tried to convince her, she would deny it every time. So yeah, my daughter doesn't believe in Santa anymore.
Oh no, she got
Thanks,
blackpilled.
Grinch. Thank you very much.
Grinch. Like, all she had to say was, "The Grinch is a jerk. He's saying that to be mean to Cindy Lou Who." That's all you have to say, and that would justify
Gave this
it.
child enlightenment.
But that's true. Once she heard it, she started putting all the pieces
Yeah.
together. It's like, wait, no one has seen him.
For a positive remark on the movie, the goat part was funny, I guess.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about the goat. Where's the screaming goat
The
meme?
screaming goat,
Yeah, I just love how that meme was dated when they put it in the movie, but it's whatever. But I just love how they did it so many times. It wasn't just like a one-off joke. Did you do it like 3 times or was it twice? I can't remember.
It was like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
they
they
was.
kept screaming. It's like, okay, you know what memes are. I get it.
Then we have Eric Miles Holder, 9 out of 10. Contemporary humor tied perfectly with deep emotion. The Grinch illustrates the emotional depth of the classical Grinch character while adding a humorous characterization. Sad when he dies in the end.
I guess I missed that
I
part.
guess he just left.
I don't know.
Like as he was about to go off the cliff, he's like, "Well, I've seen enough."
I think he saw our version where the
they
Grinch
killed the Grinch for taking the presents.
And that's it for random reviews. I didn't pick up very many.
Yeah, well, we're doing our own
Yeah.
reviews.
And this was one of the primary reasons I wanted to revisit this movie. We have an Oscar Albert for this movie.
Oh, good.
So Christmas did come early, guys.
Yeah, so just a little backstory in case you're jumping into this podcast, on this episode. Usually we have a way different format. Usually, like, as the name of the podcast suggests, we don't watch the film and we read reviews from other people and make our own.
Jump to conclusions.
Yeah, we pull our own conclusions from that. And we have this guy named Oscar Albert who he's a special man.
Yeah, the real backstory is I had picked out his reviews without knowing who he was. Like I would just occasionally on IMDb, some of these movies, I'd find a review that was just crazy, and then I put 2 and 2 together. That 1, this is the same guy. 2, he also has like a second account. It has to be the same guy, and so now I have been documenting. Wherever relevant, his reviews. Right.
And long story short, he's a prolific reviewer. He somehow always finds like a political bent to whatever he's reviewing. And he has weird like hang-ups and preferences. But yeah, anyways.
Here's Oscar Albert. His number, the stars he gives never makes any sense. 8 out of 10 stars. He didn't steal our Christmas. He just stole our stuff. Proclaimed the victims of perhaps Universal movie studio's scariest monster yet, the Grinch. Universal has long recognized that ecclesiastical ogres in general, such as the mummy and the Egyptian priest manipulating him, and Roman despoilers in particular, including the Hunchback of Notre Dame, are especially threatening because they ring so true to real life. As Hollywood's preeminent house of horror, Universal pulls out all the stops for the Grinch, giving him the same sort of cavernous hideout, massive pipe organ, and self-pitying misanthropy displayed nearly a century ago by its Phantom of the Opera. However, a screaming lamb gets in the last syllable of the Grinch.
Screaming lamb.
This is appropriate since the Lamb of God would no doubt react more violently to most any opulent modern-day temple than he did to his birth den of vipers in Jerusalem. Universal must be commended for taking an organized gloating during the holiday season with this horror offering for all ages, The Grinch.
Sounds like he liked it.
He did really like it, I realize.
So was that a positive review, or he's saying
it's a
the Grinch
positive
is like a classical monster?
Yeah,
But he seemed to say like that was a bad thing to do at Christmas, or maybe that was the tone you were reading it in. But
And it was a goat, not a lamb.
because he was making a biblical parallel. It's why I say ecclesiastical, but it seemed like he was saying it was because he seems to have a reason he hates every movie studio, which I mean fair enough, but
I think he likes Universal.
does he?
I think so, because it says Universal has long recognized. So he's saying that Universal has been kind of like preaching truth.
Maybe, yeah.
That
See, I can never figure out with him because sometimes he'll say things that seem like he's saying, why are they doing this horror story, during Christmas at Christ's birth? But
that's not what I got from him. It was just that he's like compared to Phantom of the Opera, which I guess is pretty accurate.
Yeah, I mean, he is true. There are a lot of similarities with the monsters of classical.
If anything,
lore.
he seems to have more issues with the Who's and their den of opulent. Like he's comparing the Who's to like Hollywood or even like
the Pharisees,
or even like the mega churches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He seems to believe that the Grinch is taking a stand against this, which doesn't make any sense.
No, because the Who's are good people at heart.
No, but at the end, the Grinch gives them all their stuff back and converts to their side, so it doesn't really work unless he dies. But I didn't see that.
He apparently dies in some version.
Well, I mean, he's a mortal creature.
Well, I guess in the long run, that was one of the more sane and cogent reviews that Oscar Albert has ever given us. One of the most positive. But yeah, he writes in a way, and I don't know if you're also performing him as like,
I am as a psycho.
A nut job, which may color my opinion of it. But yeah, I usually have much more trouble figuring out what the heck he's talking about.
I mean, he's always angry no matter what.
Yeah. It just comes off the page. It emanates.
Didn't he really like the Popeye movie?
I don't know.
I could have sworn there was a movie that he really liked.
Why would we have read about the Popeye movie though?
I don't know.
Because there wasn't a new.
I may have read one off just as a.
We do sometimes just read them off if they're not relevant, but we still like them. But
yeah, I just don't know why we would have talked about like that. Was it like the '90s Popeye? When did that come out?
Well, here's the thing. He it's hard to get some of his modern stuff because here's the background. He does a lot of like really old shorts and movies a lot of time.
We must have done a cartoon, like an episode.
I may have just pulled a random one. He may have covered Popeye.
Yeah.
It's not.
I was thinking of the Robin Williams movie.
No, he covered really old stuff.
That's true. Yeah, I think we did take a look at his review of one of the episodes of Popeye. So yeah.
Hey, good taste in cartoons, then.
Yeah, Popeye is amazing. I love Popeye.
Well, that's it for Oscar Albert, and I feel like he's pretty on the money, except the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need him to make a Grinch movie.
This has been, I don't know, an illuminating experience, no pun intended.
Illumination!
Because
he's back.
I could be wrong, but I feel like our impression when we first reviewed it was pretty similar to how we ended up. Yes. I mean, jokes aside about how we,
Yeah, we can see the writing on the wall on this one.
So I think it kind of proves the entire, ethos of this podcast, because we kind of wanted to see, could we do an effective review without ever actually seeing the film? And I feel like you can, honestly, if you have enough material to draw from.
There's so much.
So when someone says you didn't watch it, so you don't get an opinion, we'll just show them this podcast and they'll be wrong.
I mean, it's not always true. because I remember it's like ended up liking Bloodshot with Vin Diesel a lot more than I ever thought I would, but I think as a rule, we do a pretty good job, and I think it's all about just kind of like absorbing the zeitgeist in a way. You know, if you watch enough movies, you can kind of like do a little prognostication.
Yeah, even just reading the random reviews, I get a lot of information on these movies.
Yeah.
Although a lot of it's wrong. It's completely wrong in every regard.
Well,
like, what movie are you watching?
To be fair, the random review is mostly so we can make fun of people and their reviews.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But so the scores we gave, I believe I did mine first. I gave it 80% and described it as a rip-roaring good time. Luke raised me 90%. He liked the shortness because it was like a millisecond long. And you had problems with the millisecond long, but you gave it 70% for the sexy Grinch.
Yeah. Jokes aside, sometimes it's buried under a lot of irony. But
Rotten Tomatoes at the time gave it a 57% critic and audience score, matched up perfectly.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty fair. I think I would give it about like a 50%. It's like right down the middle.
Yeah.
It's perfectly
Average.
If you want to put it on for your kids, there's nothing.
Until it destroys their faith in Santa.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. You may have to have that conversation. But like I said, just tell him that the Grinch is mean and he's saying that to hurt Cindy Lou's feelings.
Unless your child gains enlightenment.
Yeah,
so.
And of course she may just start putting the pieces together and like, wait a minute, I've never actually seen this guy. Yeah.
I would probably lower it to about 40-45%.
I don't understand.
Because...
Why didn't that mom just say, yeah, you see Santa, he's at the mall?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But I would lower it to about a 40 or 45% simply because... it's just an empty movie. Ultimately.
Yeah. 50 is just me. Like, I don't even have enough like energy or feelings about the film to even like try to review it.
Mine would probably
just an average score.
Mine would probably be 35% now, simply because the 35% is actually the original Grinch story that's in there that I like, and
yeah, that's true.
And the rest of it is just the filler that I ate.
Yeah.
65% filler.
Disappointed that my ship didn't go through.
I know that's the biggest thing. You know what? I'm almost tempted to knocking down some points because the Grinch and Mrs. Who didn't.
I was really holding out for Who x Grinch or Grin Who.
You know, I
you can have a sequel where like he comes back. They were divorced, and now the Grinch has to fight against Mr. Luhu or whatever.
Yeah.
Differentiate them.
You know, I said I didn't have any feelings one way or another, but that kind of has my ire, so I'm gonna drop it down to like a 40%.
I appreciate the Grinch being a MILF hunter.
Yeah.
Cut that out.
No, putting it in again and doubling it.
So I looked it up, the Rotten Tomatoes score, just to see how it changed over the years. And surprisingly, I don't know how or who or why.
Cindy Lou Who, why?
Yeah, but the critic score is up to 59%, and the audience score has dropped all the way to 51%. I know.
The critical appraisal has improved with time. They needed some distance to fully appreciate the masterpiece that it is.
We just need one more good review to get that fresh.
But the audience came back and were like,
no, this is too highbrow for me, honestly.
They came back after all their children were like, Santa's not real, so they went back and downvoted it.
Which is just obviously a bold-faced lie. Santa's very real.
Incredibly real.
We know, because he sends us threatening letters every year.
Yeah, stop your many sins that have put you on the naughty list.
I mean, I did shoot one of his reindeer.
Did you shoot his littlest one?
I did.
Littlest reindeer.
Not
the littlest reindeer.
I was surprised because it was a dog.
He was so little. There's no way you could survive that one.
I got that one.
You killed Olive?
I killed Ollie. I saw a dog on my roof.
There's no way they could withstand a bullet.
So, this is our Christmas special.
Yeah, in summer.
So next year is Santa gonna get like another animal to add to his thing?
I hope so. Then we can do
Dog,
another episode on
miniature pony.
Yeah.
I wonder what else he could add.
I don't know. I want him to get something just so weird and obscure, like an octopus, or like he gets a tardigrade or something.
I remember back in the good old days where Santa just had reindeer. Now he has donkeys. It's just gone downhill ever since.
Yeah. You have to watch our Littlest Reindeer review. Yeah, and next time we'll be back with something a little more normal for
Yeah.
our podcast. But
I'm gunning for him next year.
But we owed our audience this particular special episode.
And ourselves. We needed that closure.
Yes, we really did.
We needed to put the Grinch down.
Yes. He's out of control. His horrible little pink lip. It's in my mind's eye constantly.
To match his pink pants that said like juicy or something
Yeah,
on them. I can't remember what it said.
I think they were totally leaning into the whole sexy Grinch thing, honestly.
Yeah,
That was the whole point. But
I mean, I did see some of the advertisement they were doing with them.
well, we'll leave you with that mental image.
Yep.
And
Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas.
in June as of the recording. But thank you for listening, and you can get in contact with us at Facebook and Twitter at Much Review Pod. I forgot.
Yep, changed it.
Yeah, and you can email us at muchreviewan@gmail.com. And we have a Patreon, but you know what? This is a special episode. We're not going to bother you guys with that. You guys can look in the description if you want to contact us. And
not towards the holiday spirit.
yeah, I know. We don't want to fall prey to all that commercialism that, plagues the Who's. But anyways, thank you for listening, and we'll talk at you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.